A quick bit of news trivia for you today, team. What is the number 3 trending topic on Twitter in America right now? You might think it was the big LSU Clemson game last night, which I know about because I love America and freedom. And even though I did not know that this game was happening until it was actually on the TV screens, I know that it was very fun for people to watch. And I enjoy the enjoyment that other people get from watching collegiate athletes playing the sport of football. Because I am a real American and a normal American that people can relate to. So go LSU, Clemson stuff. What are the? Do we know what the mascots are for them, by the way?
They're literally the same mascot.
Are you serious?
Yes, they're both the Tigers.
No, that's not possible.
I swear to you.
They're both Tigers?
Yeah.
Are you messing with me? Is this
I'm
like a thing
really
on air?
not. They really are both the Tigers. That was a joke on Twitter all yesterday. Who's going to win, the Tigers or the Tigers?
This is like when Michael Malice tried to convince me that Aaron Paul, the YouTuber, was a relative of Rand Paul's, and I was just like, well, how do I know if, like, I mean, it could be.
I mean, that does sound possible.
Right, but this, he's like, oh, no, it's real. And then as soon as I was like, all right, I didn't know that. He's like, you idiot, that's not real. I'm like, well, how would I know that?
I mean, for the longest time, I didn't know Chuck Schumer and Amy Schumer were related.
They are related,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that's
I didn't know
thing.
that for a long time.
Interesting. Do you find her funny, by the way? I think the movie.
Certain things.
I saw a movie that she was in, and it was one of the worst things I've ever seen. I think it was some kind of a dating movie. I forget what it was called.
Oh, the one with LeBron in it, I
yes,
think? Yeah,
yes.
that was not good.
One of the worst movies ever made.
Yeah.
And she should be ashamed for all eternity as an artiste for being involved in that hunk of garbage
the
movie.
check probably cleared.
It probably
Adam
did.
Sandler's made a lot of bad movies.
But
He
you're
still
telling me
gets
to go
paid.
see the what's the
Yeah.
movie? The
Uncut Gems,
Uncut
which
Gems.
got snubbed. Not even
Good
one
heavens.
nomination. People are very angry about it.
I love this morning. I mean, I wasn't even thinking I was going to talk about movies today, but wait, don't go anywhere because
All right.
because I got to ask you a thing about the game. But someone who writes for GQ, like a sex advice column for GQ, a blue check person, was upset to the point of profanity about how there were no women in the movie 1917, and how
I saw you tweet about this.
Yeah, why do we have to keep watching like this thing about the World War I? Like, oh, like World War I, like such a big deal. It's actually a pretty big deal, darling. It's actually a pretty
Shaped the
important,
country, yeah.
kind of shaped the modern world, and
Sure.
also cost Europe an entire generation of young men because of government and bureaucrat stupidity, and really created also the groundwork that led to World War II. And it's so I think you can say a big deal, but no, apparently not. And it's really what you find is that trench warfare in World War I, as you know, is the patriarchy. That is the patriarchy. Just dudes.
How do you expect to fake putting women in that battle? I mean, were women in the army at that time?
Nope.
I don't think so. No.
Nope.
There's nothing we can do about that now in 2020.
No, but wokeness means not having to bend the knee to reality.
Sure.
There should have been a whole female battalions in 1917 who were running with women's march T-shirts on, running across that field just for the artistic merit of it. That would have made it a much better film.
Yeah, I hate factually incorrect movies.
Yeah, I know. I get angry about that too. Oh wait, but so
I'm
the
factually
LSU
correct.
thing, LSU Clemson game, LSU won, right?
Yes. They're the
And do
national
we
champions.
like this? Is this good for us?
Sure, yeah.
Is the Freedom Hut pro LSU or pro Clemson? You get to decide.
I guess.
It's you. It's all on your
guess
shoulders.
pro LSU? I don't know. We're
You're
probably
pro.
pissed off half of Alabama there.
Is Clemson an Alabama thing?
Yes.
Where's Clemson? It's in
Clemson's
Alabama.
in Alabama.
I didn't know
They're
that.
big rivals with Alabama.
Yeah. This is a whole.
You know where LSU is, right?
Louisiana.
Oh, my God, yes.
Oh,
Baton
okay.
Rouge.
I thought I got that wrong. I was worried for a second. All right, no, yeah.
But yes, their quarterback, Joe Burrow, will be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft this year. He'll probably go to Cincinnati, which
Okay.
really stinks for him. But
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
at least he can hang out in Miami in the offseason. So this is you might think, Buck, aren't we talking about the LSU Clemson game because that's the number 3 trending topic? No. The number 3 trending topic on Twitter has to do with the LSU Clemson game, but it is not actually
I know
about
where you're
the
going
game.
with this.
No, not actually the game at all.
The only reason you know about this game, isn't it?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
This is true. He just called me out, but it's accurate. Vince Vaughn, who is an actor with a tremendous range that goes from movies where he plays Vince Vaughn to other movies where he plays slightly older Vince Vaughn. But I do like him. I mean, I think he's made some great. I think Old School is great. Wedding Crashers is great. These are fun movies, no question. He was horrifically bad in the second season of True Detective, but I'll let that slide. Vince Vaughn at the LSU Clemson game went up to the President of the United States and his wife, shook hands, exchanged pleasantries, and went about the rest of his life. And the left is freaking out about it. All over the social media. Oh, Vince Vaughn, Trump's a fascist. People freaking out. I don't understand. They got to get a grip. They got to get a grip. It's just not that big a deal. The guy was just saying hi.
This is the same thing that happened with Ellen and George W.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, she was. I give Ellen credit. She was like, I'm he's a human being. I'm a human being. Sometimes human beings are nice to each other. You know? I was like, yeah. When you're Ellen, also, it's like, come on. Like, they can't.
Who doesn't like Ellen?
I was going to say, it's like, there's some people that even the left, no matter how angry they get, like the wokeness will not overcome,
Ellen.
Yeah. I mean, Oprah, Ellen, they can pretty much do the thing that Baby Yoda does where they like stop the bad guys from moving. They can just freeze them in midair.
Just stop Twitter.
Yeah, they can just stop Twitter. Oprah can just wave her hand and like Twitter will freeze. Same thing with Ellen. Including, because they're like very powerful figures to the left and on the left. Anyway, so Vince Vaughn was pleasant to the sitting president of the United States, the commander-in-chief, and people are all freaked out about that. That's a real thing that is going on right now. Vince Vaughn, they're saying, should be canceled. I mean, Democrats are completely insane, folks. This is a real thing that is happening right now. That's how much they've been convinced that Donald Trump is a menace, is a danger, is a bad guy. It's not possible to have reasonable conversations with people who think that it is a transgression to shake hands, as an American, as any person, as an American, to shake hands with the sitting president of the United States. A president who has done what's the terrible thing that he's done again exactly? What countries has he invaded and destroyed? What internment camps has he set up for people and sent American citizens into? What's the really horrific thing that Donald Trump has done? I always love this. Oh, they misrepresent something that he said at a press conference a few years ago. That's what the thing that we're all supposed to be terrified about. These people are crazy, but that's also why when I saw this morning, CNN was running some story on how the ocean is warming at the same rate as if we dropped 5 Hiroshima-sized nuclear bombs in the ocean every day. I mean, I know that's supposed to be released. That's like, it sounds to people, oh my gosh, that's so scary. The ocean, I'm going to let you in a little secret, is really, really big. So even if it sounds like, oh my gosh, 5 nuclear bombs in the ocean in a day, it's a really big ocean. All right, so let's not get too worried about this. But they're trying to find the most viscerally disturbing imagery possible to describe what is a naturally occurring process that has always been occurring. Temperature of the ocean has always been going up, going down. That's just the reality of the planet we live in. But they want people to be terrified. And as part of that terror campaign, they come up with ways to play upon the fear they've created. I mean, this is now the climate change stuff. Look, you see this with the way that Trump is treated as the worst person ever by the left. There's the exaggeration has gotten to the point now where there's no backing down from it. I mean, they've really convinced people that Donald Trump is the scariest, worst person ever, and so they're not willing to try to scale that back at all. You also have this with climate change. If you want any attention for your climate change cause, what you end up having to do as a lib and as a media outlet now is just say the most outrageous, frightening things possible, and then people will click on it and they'll want to hear it. Then you have to say the world's going to end in 12 years. No, the world's going to end in 10 years. Not 6, 7. Not 6-minute abs, 7-minute abs. That's where we are on this. It reminds me a little bit of the local news trick that you still see sometimes where it's like, well, good evening, I'm so-and-so, and here's the, attractive female that appeals to the largest local demographic viewership we have here, whatever that may be. And, tonight we're going to talk to you about the mayor's race and also the thing you have in your home that may kill you unless we tell you what it is, coming up later. This is a kind of a caricature of what, but I mean, that really happens. I mean, you look at local news, they'll do that, and people go, oh, I better know or else this thing's going to kill me. That's now like the climate change people. It's here we have another scientist who says, unless we take climate change seriously, we have 6 years left. No, we have 4 years left. No, we have 10 years left. No, we're all going to die. Because when you set the bar at that level, to get anyone's attention, you have to take the dial to 11. Not 10, 11, not 6, 7. All right. You see what I'm saying? This is very interesting. And I didn't get a chance to address this earlier. But let me share with you, this just broke. This is a piece in the New York Times. Russians hacked Ukrainian gas company at the center of impeachment. Give you some of the details here. And I quote, with President Trump facing an impeachment trial over his efforts to pressure Ukraine to investigate former Vice President Joseph R. Biden Jr. and his son Hunter Biden, Russian military hackers have been boring into the Ukrainian gas company at the center of the affair, according to security experts. The hacking attempts against Burisma, the Ukrainian gas company on whose board Hunter Biden served, began in early November as talk of the Biden's Ukraine and impeachment was dominating the news in the United States. It is not yet clear what the hackers found or precisely what they were searching for. But the experts say the timing and scale of the attack suggests that the Russians could be searching for potentially embarrassing material on the Bidens, the same kind of information that Mr. Trump wanted from Ukraine when he pressured an investigation of the Bidens and Burisma, setting off a chain of events that led to his impeachment. Then as now, the Russian hackers from a military intelligence unit known formerly as the GRU, and to private researchers by the alias Fancy Bear, use so-called phishing emails that are designed to steal usernames and passwords, according to a Silicon Valley security firm that detected the hacking called Area 1. I guess we're putting a lot of faith and credibility in this Area 1, which, by the way, this has blown up in the media's face before. It did back with the Washington Post and their whole Russian fake news thing. They cited some security expert online cyber group that was a joke, that it was like nothing. It didn't really exist. But the Washington Post ran with it because it was anti-Trump. That was early in the Trump presidency. Let's unpack this for a minute. Ukrainian gas company, the center of impeachment, Burisma, is hacked by Russian. That's what they're saying. Why would they tell us this? Why would they tell us this? Why would they be concerned about this, too? There are a few things that could be going on here, and I'm not quite committed in my mind yet to which one I think is the most likely, so I'm working through some of the options here with you as I see it. You could have an effort to just bring up Russia again right now in the whole impeachment situation, and the Russians are trying to help Trump, and that's anything that can be talked about as a Russia issue gets Democrats excited. Anything that is in the world of Russia stuff gets Democrats excited. Okay, that's possible. So it's just a distraction from the distraction from the impeachment situation, and it's something that we have to just move past as quickly as we can because it doesn't mean anything. Here's another possibility, though. What if we're being told this by the New York Times? What if they're telling us this because there are concerns? There are concerns that maybe somewhere in the Burisma files, somewhere on the Burisma servers, there could be information that it doesn't even have to be criminal. Remember that. It just has to look really bad. Perhaps not even involving Hunter Biden directly, but about Hunter Biden in some way. All you need is one director of, a Burisma or one CEO or, somebody high up the food chain over there writing a colleague some email like, all right, pay that, idiot Hunter Biden $50,000 to $80,000 a month, whatever you got to pay him, because that means that his dad will lay off us in this whole corruption thing a little bit, just because of the appearance of it all. All you need is an email like that. And the Democrats' efforts to use this thing as a means of removing the President of the United States and preventing his reelection turns into a nightmare for them. That's all you need. And what I think is so interesting is that there's also, it's very clear from the way this is reported on, that if the Russians found, and this is the way that the left thinks, the left thinks about these issues is really on a loop, right? It's Russia, right? They think about this stuff the same way all the time. If the left found if the Russians found information that did in fact look bad for the Bidens in Ukraine on this Burisma stuff, you already know that the press would treat this like it was not, when they get information from WikiLeaks that hurts Bush, when they get information of any kind, when they get leaks about national security that hurt a Republican, the press runs with it. The public has to know how we got it, whether it was illegal or not, doesn't matter. And by the way, you saw this with the Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton situation with the DNC emails that were released. Journalists were very like, oh, I don't know, this is, although that's a little different because they were still talking about Democrats and Democrats, right? So there were some different equities that got brought into play there. Do you think that they would accept information that was dumped by WikiLeaks or anyone else that looked bad for the Bidens as anything? They would say it's Russian disinformation. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. At this point, they would come up with whatever storyline they had to as reporters, as journalists, to avoid treating that information like the incredibly newsworthy stuff it is. Look what they've done with the whistleblower. They have pretended for months now that the whistleblower is not, his identity is not a newsworthy item. That is a lie. That is a joke. That is ridiculous. If Russia found information on the Burisma servers that looked bad for the Bidens, the journalists already want to make sure that, or if anyone found that information, that's another important point here too. If someone in Ukraine comes forward, a whistleblower, you could even say, with information about the Bidens in Ukraine, they'd say it's a Russian operation. This is now not only is this the weapon they use, this is the sword and the shield. This is the weapon they use against Republicans, and it's what they will say to defend the Bidens if they have to. See, it was any information that comes out about the Bidens with regard to Burisma, it doesn't matter who puts it out there, it's a Russian intelligence operation on behalf of Trump. That's what they're doing here.
It's time for roll call.
Facebook.com/Buck Sexton for roll call purposes. Also, Team Buck at iHeartMedia.com. And yesterday I got a little too chatty with producer Mark, so I trampled on your roll call time a little bit today. I wanted to give you a little more time for that. By the way, I also wanted a programming note that I'm going to be out in Los Angeles Thursday, Friday, meeting with some folks. Got some things got to take care of on the West Coast, the left coast, and I'll be back next week. But I'll be gone Thursday, Friday. My man Ben Weingarten is going to be in both on radio and on Pluto TV, channel 248, the first. That's what he's going to. What's up?
Well, we have a show Monday, too.
Oh, yeah, Monday. Well, I'm out Monday, but that's like a holiday, so.
I'm just letting the listeners know.
Correct,
the
thank
viewers.
you. He wants to, so I'll be out for a few days. This is the last stretch of Buck out of the hut that I think is going to happen for more than a day. I'm not expecting to be out for more than a day between now and the election, really. That's what I'm thinking is going to be the case. So this is the last one. Just let you know, my man Ben Weingarten will be doing a great job. Facebook.com/Buck Sexton. Joe writes in and he has the following. I will slay him. Oh, ho, ho. Die. I can't. Of course, he's writing to me in reference to the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where the protagonist, played by the guy who's from How I Met Your Mother. I forget his real name. You know what I'm talking? You know this guy?
Jason Segel or Siegel. I forget how you
Jason
pronounce it
Segel. I
again,
think his name is. Yeah, Jason Segel. Where he plays like a heartbroken boyfriend who goes to the Turtle Bay Resort on the north side of Oahu, which is actually where it is. And he has Kristen Bell is there, and also I can't remember the little brunette actress's name. She's Ukrainian. Anyway, whatever. It's a good movie. I've seen it many times. It's a little raunchy. Certainly not for the kids to watch, but I have enjoyed that movie. And I like his whole Dracula theater thing because that reminds me of, like, I did the Dracula show here for Halloween, which I kind of want to return to and do an update of at some point. All right. Dave writes, Buck, enjoyed the Michael Malice interview. Yeah, Dave, Michael and I are buddies, and I did his show, You're Welcome. And we had a long chat. We chatted for about an hour just about everything. So just go to, I don't know how you even find it, but look on Michael Malice's Facebook or Twitter page. I'm sure he has it linked up there. I retweeted it on Twitter. But if you want to listen, by all means, we had a long chat. TJ, long time no speak. In regards to legalization of weed, I've been pondering whether raising the tobacco age to 21 is a foreshadowing of what may be coming down the pipe. Maybe they're planning on a federal legalization of weed, and to make it easy, they're setting the legal age of 21 for everything. Just a thought. Also, it's the only way that I can justify Republicans supporting more nanny state nonsense. Yeah, I don't know when we're going to reach the conversation changing to the legitimate federalization of weed, when that's really going to happen. I mean, meaning it's no longer illegal. Marijuana right now, anywhere in the United States, is illegal under federal law. It is. States can't change that. States have been allowed, with a kind of wink and a nod from the federal government, to decriminalize for their own purposes. I believe New York State is going to be following that. Path as well pretty soon here. I mean, I don't know about you, producer Mark. I can't even walk. I feel like I can't walk more than 5 blocks without, somebody's smoking some kind bud on the street.
Yeah, I noticed it a lot more when we were in Midtown.
Yeah.
Not as much down here, but.
Yeah, well, Tribeca. We're down in Tribeca is where we do the show, which is for the triangle below Canal, for Canal Street, part of Manhattan, which is fancy.
Yeah, very bougie area.
Very fancy down here. We are not fancy.
No.
But we are in nor is the Freedom Hut fancy, but we are in a fancy area.
Yeah.
Not
which I prefer it down here to the tourist trap that where our old studios were located.
Oh, man. If you're talking about a place to go for a walk and hang out, it's way nicer around here.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful down around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always tell people, when you go to New York, man, don't hang out near Times Square. Don't hang out in Midtown. Don't do it. Don't do it. So, let's see what we have here. Next up. Karen, regarding chocolate, I am very skinny and I eat lots of chocolate. I never eat anything less than 85% pure chocolate. It's the sugar that makes one fat, not the chocolate. Okay, Karen, thank you for the update. I just like all of the chocolate. So, there is that. Steve, Buck, amazing show and analysis. Steve, amazing analysis of my amazing show and analysis. Keep up the great work. You spend time and energy on mainstream media, advocates, and PR branch Ministry of Information for the Socialist Communist Democratic Party. True, your audience, or some percentage, is already aware. Yep, Steve, I know, but we're trying to do counter-narrative building here. That's part of it. You know, we got to fight back against the lies that are told, or else the lies become the only thing that people hear. Steven, all this talk from Lee and Paul has me wondering, when the founders were still running the country and sent the Navy and Marines after the Barbary pirates, did they wait for a declaration of war, or did they use executive power to handle it? This strikes me as very similar. And well, this has been a debate that does stretch back to the origins of the Republic, and it's one that will always be with us. You know, what is in the purview of the Commander-in-Chief of the executive branch when it comes to the power to make war, and what does the Congress maintain as its own authority under those circumstances? So yes, indeed. Eric. This is very long, Eric. I got to skip this for now. Derek, not to be confused with Eric. Buck. I took a couple of psychology classes in college, and there has been surveys of women who like men with beards. Most women like two types of men. However, that is dependent on other things. Buck, keep growing that beard. Shields high. Okay, Derek. I don't know. Speaking of kind bud and maxing and relaxing. I don't really know what we're going for there, Derek, but I appreciate it. Here we go. No, that's something else. Roll call. A lot of weird links getting sent to me in roll call today. Jeremy. Oh, I always think of Jeremy, and then I think of Jeremy spoke. Jeremy spoken. And it turns out Pearl Jam is going to be on tour soon, for those of you that like Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder and all that stuff. I've been on a 90s music kick recently, so I've been enjoying that. Jeremy, I'm so sick of celebrities opening their mouths trying to stay in the limelight. Colin Kaepernick in particular. The only way he's going to get drafted is if there's World War III. Even then, I don't want him on our team. It's also interesting how Pelosi was rushing to get the impeachment vote, but now she's Stalin. I see what you did there, Jeremy. Keep up the great work, Shields High. Jeremy's playing word games. Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate it, man. Let's see. We have more coming in on the roll call. Mark. Hi, Buck. I hope this is the correct place for roll call. I put this together. I hope you like it. I don't always need to carry a shield, but when I do, it's shields high. Buck Sexton. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, man. Got to keep that shield high. So those are bad people do bad things. Yeah, somebody wrote in about this too. Thank you guys for pointing out. I know it does say on Google that I am married. This has come up a few times in the last year, both personally and professionally. People have been like, wait a second, you're married? I am not married. I have never been married. So I don't know what that's the way. I don't know what else to tell you guys other than there are some websites that say that I am married. We're hoping. Producer Mark is rooting for me. He showed me how it's done. He got it done. So he's trying to blaze that trail. And I'm only 10 years older than Mark, so hopefully I'll get there.
Do I have to start running your dating apps now too?
I mean, producer Mark already is very good at the social media. He'd probably be great at dating apps as well.
That's how I met my wife.
Really?
Yeah, on Tinder.
Really? On Tinder?
On Tinder.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I was shocked too.
Well, congrats. That's like a real success story for Tinder. I know about this from that Tinder generally has a reputation for being a little bit more of a naughty app.
Yes.
I'm
not the only. I have heard of other people who have found legit love.
Well, see, but here's
Tinder.
the thing about Tinder. It's the biggest of all the dating apps. And so if you're just looking for volume, which you kind of are in the dating world, right? You want the most options, the most possibility. It makes sense. But I've heard that there's some pretty wild stuff on Tinder.
Oh yeah, if you go through,
I am not on Tinder, I can tell you, and I've heard there's some pretty wild stuff.
If you go through a female's Tinder app, hundreds
of stuff people send them that is
not necessarily just matches.
Oh.
Like me, I'm not that good looking. I would get like 5.
And yet the married man who's building a life or whatever figured out Tinder in a way that, the rest of us haven't yet. So good for you. But that's very cool.
I guess I'm a statistic.
How many did you I see now you're already married, so you can tell me these things. Did you know on the first date you're like, this is going well, I mean, look, I think it's too much to say I know I'm gonna marry this. People always say that. I feel like you never know first you're married this person.
As I said to her, I definitely knew I wanted to see more of her. I didn't know the first date that I was gonna marry her. I mean,
when did you start getting the little when the little voice starts saying maybe this is the one? How many days in? A couple months. I think that's kind of industry standard. I think it takes 2 months to get to really know whether you're really interested.
Yes, I definitely knew I didn't want to dump her or anything right away. I knew I wanted to see where this went, and then, well, here we are.
Where was the first date?
Actually, a Green Turtle.
What is that?
It's a chain like Applebee's type.
Oh,
it was near where we both went to school, Hofstra.
Nice.
So we just went and got a beer.
Like local joint for you guys to go hang out and stuff. Whatever. Yeah. Nice. Very nice. Yeah.
You're learning a lot of stuff.
Yeah, learning a lot of the things. When did you have to meet the parents?
That was like 4 or 5 months in.
Nice.
That was awful.
You know who else needs to meet the parents? Me. I need to meet producer Mark's parents because they have no idea who I am.
You did meet them.
Nor that I. Yeah, I still think they probably don't know who I am.
Yeah.
Even though
We've gone over
it's cool. I met Mark's mom and dad. I went to the wedding and I introduced myself and they're like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "Look, that's cool. I don't expect you to know my work. I do spend about 4 or 5 hours a
Sure.
day in a room with your son, just the two of us.
Did my in-laws know who you were?
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
knew. Yeah. Yeah, they knew.
My
The wife's
parents are
family
really
was
with
on.
it.
The
Yeah.
wife's family was on the ball. Producer Mark's family. His mom was like, "Who are you? Are you a waiter? What are you doing here?" And was
I mean,
like,
you were dressed like a waiter.
all right. That's enough of that. But yeah, man. So the Tinder can result. Tinder can be a love match. Who knows?
Yes, it can.
Tinder can be a love match. All right, good times. Oh, we got more roll call. All right. We're going to do, for roll call now, we're getting into some of the emails. I feel like sometimes I neglect those who send in the emails. I just go right to the Facebook, even though we should spend equal time on both. Lowell writes, "Hey, Buck, I really love everything you're doing for the first and the podcast. Just a thought. We need a Second Amendment alert for our phones. I signed up for the first email and enjoy the info from the first. Keep up the great app. Keep up the great job. Lowell, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Tim, this is just titled Roll Call. Very, very effective, Tim. Hey, Buck, have you seen Kurt Russell's very best underrated action classic, Soldier? It's actually a prequel set early in the Blade Runner universe. It's totally awesome. Check it out. Shields high, Tim. I haven't even heard of that movie. I didn't even know that was a movie. So I cannot say that I know anything about it. Maureen writes in the headline here in the email. Remember, teambuck@iheartmedia.com if you want to send us emails. Please do. By the way, please do send Facebook messages, even if it's a one-liner. We'd like hearing from you. Even if it's just an email to say, hey, producer Mark is funny, or, congrats on his marriage. I'm glad he came back from Jamaica and didn't bail on the hut forever. Whatever it is you want to say. It doesn't have to be long. Just send us your thoughts. We love hearing from you. Oh, Buck, thank you for making me double over with laughter as you describe the heroics of recently retired Diego the Tortoise and his amorous adventures. The vision of him just rolling over in utter exhaustion after finishing, feet up in the air, is just so funny. Thank you for that and for so much more. You're simply the best, which is why I've sent 13 people to you. They all listen to your podcast now and watch you on Pluto TV. I'll be sending more along the way, too. Maureen in Newport Beach. Maureen, thank you so much. Great email. And I really appreciate you sending more people to the Freedom Hut. It makes a huge difference to us. It keeps producer Mark and me employed, which we really appreciate. Because the show actually, these shows these days, you need to be growing. If you're not growing, you're dying. So the show needs to be constantly getting bigger, and that means I need you guys to be telling people about it. As for Diego, I mean, I lost it yesterday. I will tell you that I cracked up a few times even after the show. Because you have to read the whole story about Diego and how he saved his species by having a lot of sex, as he was a grand tortoise or something, whatever they call it. But the video of him after he has done his business, falling over with his little sort of fin-like arms in the air, is really it's really amazing. You really need to check it out because a lot of guys will watch it and be like, yep, I've been there. Let's see here. Jonathan writes, your impersonations are amazing. It's what sets you apart from all the other people out there. It takes a special kind of intelligence to embody a person or personality through imitation. And your impersonation of Hillary Clinton sounds nothing like her, but embodies her evil, nagging wife persona so well. This guy's smart. I like this. One of the main reasons why I don't want to go to hell is because I would be married to Hillary Clinton and have to put up with her horrible voice, with her fake Southern accent and her fake Northeastern speech accent and her cottage industry of corruption, I will say. These politicians need marking on a daily basis. I truly believe that our politicians can be set on the right track. Thank you so much. Jonathan, man, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the impersonations. We'll bring some of them back, especially in the debate season. We'll have that going for sure. Let's see here. William. Hey, Buck. Listening to your podcast recently, you mentioned the issues of public education. Here's a fix that should be contemplated in a ruby red state. Since the public school system is established by state constitution, create a movement to amend the state constitution to devolve the requirement of public schools to the locality of city country. The locality would then decide whether to have a traditional public school system or to have no system and issue tax vouchers or tax deductions for private schools. All right, cool. William, I don't know if that will work, but sounds like it might. So I like outside-the-box thinking, especially about the school system. That's our show today. Tomorrow's last for me this week. We'll have Weingarter in Thursday and Friday. And I'll probably watch. Maybe I'll live tweet some of the debate tonight. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. We'll see if I have time to go to Home Depot. I don't know if I have enough time. We will be talking tomorrow, though, friends, in the hut, as we always do. Shields high.